other council members would like to ask questions? Mr. Chianese.
Thank you. Again, through the chair, I just want to just take a quick step backwards. So the delta you, from the city budget and your proposal is about, what is it, 8.7 million?
Yes, our ask was 8.7.
Okay, so it's not the difference that's in the current book? Like 11 million difference?
No.
It's 11 million.
It's 11 million, correct?
Suggesting reserves and grants.
Yeah, because their beginning budget is wrong. It's $2.8 million too high. That's the problem.
Okay.
And so, then what we're referring to is, we started our budget from the 139, so it was 137 plus the 2 million reserves from last year, and we started from the 139, and it was clarified after we had already built the books essentially. So our number is really 137 as a base, not 139.
Okay, so the mayor is proposing 141. So the difference is between what you're, is $8.7 million.
Yes.
Okay, let's leave it at that. So the question I have is really finding that delta between our budget and your budget. And I do agree with Councilman Levy that there are some overages in there that can be reduced. I get that. All budgets have fluff in it. So when I look at the amount of money that we're getting on page 351, so I guess my question is to David. So out of the 141 million that we're projecting, 24 million is coming from the state, and our percentage is 116 on that one. So when I take that and I go back to your page 78, and when I look at there, you're saying the amount of money that we get from the state is a total of $31 million?
Yeah.
I just trying to understand the figures, that's all. So before I ask my question, I just wanted to make sure I have the facts correct.
On page 30, that's all state money.
All state, so
That includes pilot funding.
it's everything,
Everything else.
but the 24 is in there,
The 24 is in there.
Okay.
It doesn't include the alliance money
it's not in there.
or the enhanced money. No, the alliance money is going directly to the school. Now, we could have held on to that, but we chose not to.
Okay.
We're giving it directly to the school. So the school is getting in addition $2.5 million in alliance money this year.
So, again, that's what I'm trying to get, just trying to understand the numbers. So the 24 million that you have on page 351, that 24 million does not include the extra two.
No,
It does not.
no.
Okay,
Our
so,
number's been relatively flat.
so therefore the delta is now 6, not 8, if you include the 2,
If you include the 2.5.
the 2.5. I'm just trying to see, define where we can find a grounds. If we were going to increase their budget, where would we get it from?
If you start, if I may, if you start off with about a $15 million difference, so that's, we're talking about $15.5 million difference. And we're providing 4.1 million, another 2.5 million roughly in alliance money, and another 2.8 million that we're allowing them to use as part of the surplus from last year. So all in all, that's about $9.3 million of the $15.5 million.
That was still short.
No, that's, the short is the difference between the 15, it's about $6 million.
So the 8 that superintendent talked about is now down to 6.
6 million.
Basically, something.
We got there different ways, but
But based on what you're presenting to the city council, which is about $6 million delta between the two.
correct.
I mean, I know you have to talk to them and see, and get the details of that, but we're about 6 right now. So if I go back on your page 79 again, the use of fund reserves. Now, I know in fiscal year 1920, I know we budgeted 5 million and we wound up using 0. And I know in fiscal year 2021, we had budgeted numbers and we wound up 0. Because we wound up getting extra revenue that we didn't have to take money out of our reserve.
Well, if you recall, the way that works is I go back to the city council, that reserve is then earmarked for capital projects and other things. So we deal with the Board of Ed separately, as you know. and we give them pretty much whatever their surplus is, we set it aside in the Board of Ed reserve.
So this fiscal year, which I haven't gotten any of the new numbers for April yet, because I haven't gotten them. So we, again, we are budgeting a reserve 6.7 million.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate us using that funds?
I do anticipate us using it. I don't know how much, but I do anticipate us using it.
So it won't be,
Yeah, because we had a number of tax appeals, as you're fully aware of. So,
I guess my question, and this fiscal year, again, you're budgeting 7.5 million. But because I'm talking to our state reps, they kept saying they got the city more money, they got the city more money. They keep saying we got $4 or $5 million, but they don't see it. So when I look up here at your line here, it's 30, 30, 42, then back to 31 and 32. I mean, those are estimated numbers, correct?
they are, but let me address that, that more money issue. What that means is on the alliance money, last year they kind of doubled up on that, so that was, instead of getting 2.5, they got 5 million roughly. When I say last year, that's actually this year. And they gave us $2.5 million of additional pilot money. So that's where that 5 million came from. It was really split between the Board of Ed and the city. So that's why we're able to reduce in part the use of fund reserves.
So basically, we reimbursed ourselves back.
Well, we're not digging deeper into the hole, let's put it that way. We're
So-
trying to dig out of the hole, because right now, our budget is depending on utilizing reserves. Reserve, not unappropriated fund balance so much, but reserves that we've already designated.
So I guess my question would be, since,
This will be your last question.
no, I just want to get understanding. So if we were to increase their budget,
Yeah.
not give them the 6, but increase it by $3 million, how would we do it?
The only way you're really left with is to increase taxes. If you want to, see, keep in mind, our unassigned fund balance has stayed about the same, but our budget has grown and grown and grown. Now, keep in mind that money is really cash flow for us. As the budget grows, we're now limiting our cash flow. And so, our unassigned fund balance has been dropping, although the actual dollar amount has not. As a percent of the budget, it's been dropping. So that's why it's very important not to tap into that. We've been smart in the prior years to set aside reserves for this, reserves for that. Those things that we suspected might come back and cost us a little bit more out of our ordinary operations, such as litigation, such as set aside for tax appeals, or significant growth in pension costs. All those have been tapped over the last few years. We've tapped them down. You can look at the balance sheet, you won't see much there.
Just going to follow up his point.
This is it.
How much would a mill rate would that
You
be?
can call me
Yeah,
anytime.
how much of the mill rate, how much of a mill rate increase would be, to say, $3 million? 0.2, 0.1, 0.01?
If you just look at it this way, for every percent that a mill is about $8 million and change, right? So if you're talking about 4 million, you're talking about half a mil,
We're talking half.
okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any other council
Good
members that
questions.
have any questions?